In New York, a bill in the House gives people the right to bypass gender altogether and simply label themselves X on their birth certificate. Democratic Mayor Bill de Blasio says the change will allow transgender and non-gender conforming New Yorkers to live with the dignity and respect they deserve.
Why are we legitimizing on birth certificates something that is a mental disorder, something that makes you 20 times more likely to commit suicide? Dr. McHugh, who is the distinguished professor of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins University, who hasn't yet drunk the progressive PC Kool-Aid, maintains that this gender dysphoria, this desire to mutilate yourself, to amputee yourself because you don't feel like you are the biological sex that you really are, is a mental disorder.
Now comes a shocking trend: parents raising so-called babies instead of babies. Babies are supposedly genderless kids who are addressed as they or them, rather than he or she, giving them the option to choose their own gender. Elizabeth Johnston, also known as the activist mommy, describes this push as the latest effort by LGBT activists to normalize gender confusion.
There's been an agenda underfoot for years to erase gender distinctions, to confuse the clear distinction that our Creator has given us between man and woman.
Johnston says the LGBT community actively targets children through various projects.
And now we have this indoctrination and confusion taking place in our school systems with transgender puppets and drag queen story hours in public libraries, where our taxpayer funds are going to confuse children.
It's not just happening in America. North of the border, a transgender curriculum called SOGI is taught in Canadian schools. It stands for sexual orientation and gender identification. And one group has created a transgender puppet named Julia to teach school-aged children about transgenderism and gender fluidity. Author and speaker Laura Lynn Tyler Thompson is an outspoken critic.
It is an indoctrination of all the children. What's happening is that parents are actually finding out it's been implemented. It's like we didn't know. Like they put it in underground without parental knowledge. They say that they consulted parents, but they consulted the LGBTQ community and some selected parents that they knew might be on their side.
Meanwhile, she says Christians are becoming bold and are taking a stand.
There's a big war going on up here. We're very upset. The rise is happening.
The word was this battle is not yours, Jehoshaphat. This battle is the Lord's.
And Charlene joins us now with more on this. So what are some other examples of the push to normalize transgenderism?
Ephraim, we're seeing it all over the spectrum. First of all, a group of doctors are actually giving 13-year-old teen girls double mastectomies because they feel like they're boys and they want to be identified as a boy. Giving them double mastectomies. This is something that is outrageous. We're also seeing Netflix earlier this year released a trailer for something known as Super Drags, a new series that's going to be talking about drag queen superheroes. Kids are going to be watching this, not to mention the whole bathroom debacle with the whole transgender bathroom issue. It's just all over the place. We're seeing this.
Continues to unfold. What can parents do to protect their children in light of all that's happening around us?
Parents need to be informed. They need to be involved in what their kids are watching on TV, what kind of curriculum is being taught in their children's schools. They need to know, and not only know, but be vocal about what they're seeing. Give pushback to what's happening. Write letters to schools. Write letters to your school boards. Speak up about what your kids are learning and be involved about it.
How are Christians speaking out about what we're seeing in this trend?
You know, when CBN News did this wonderful story by our colleague Wendy Griffith out of Canada, the whole SOGI, the push to normalize transgenderism there, the Philippines heard about that. Christians in the Philippines, 40,000 Christians, we heard, rallied against SOGI coming to the Philippines, and they began to pray, they began to fast, and they began to speak out and push back. And SOGI was rejected in the Philippines because Christians said, we're not going to take this anymore. We're going to not be silent. And it's time for Christians to rise up. Call your local schools. If you have to homeschool your children, there's a trend right now where grandparents can actually homeschool their grandkids if the parents are busy. So there's ways to protect your kids and speak out about this.